On 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And sorry, no Drew DeArmond for the next couple days. Drew enjoying a little vacation.
Is that what this is?
Yes, a vacation. The poor guy has he needs a break, and so we're giving Drew a couple days of rest and relaxation, hopefully. And Drew will join us in the next few days. So Steve Moulton pitch hitting today. We're going to have a myriad of guests sitting in the chair for the next 3 days. So
good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Just stay tuned to find out who's all in for Talkin Ball on Wednesday, Thursday, and I think Friday as well. So stay with us. All right, we got a lot of stuff to get to as always, but it starts with you, 256-576-4977. You can give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We got a lot of stuff that you're going to want to comment on. If you head to our Twitter page at 977-ESPN, we invite you to give us a follow there. We did put a poll question up there this morning, and I'd like to take credit for this, but I saw a couple tweets about this morning, and so I kind of borrowed it, ran with it.
Sampling is not stealing.
That is right. So I got to thinking about this because the Manning brothers do a fantastic job, by the way, on Monday Night Football. The Manning cast has become must-watch TV for, I think, a lot of sports enthusiasts on Monday night because
no doubt.
It is simply great. So it led me to think and tie into a lot of other tweets. The greatest or the biggest Heisman Trophy snub of all time. It's hard to put just 4 choices on there. I put 4 on there. So if you think it's someone else, you can call us this morning and let us know. But 1992, Marshall Faulk. 1997, Peyton Manning. 2003, Larry Fitzgerald. And 1980, Herschel Walker, the freshman year of Herschel Walker. Now, he did go on to win it his junior year.
With less impressive numbers.
Yes. So, when you look at it, Matt Leinart won it 1 year, but Adrian Peterson had a fantastic, phenomenal freshman season. He did not win it that year. So, those are your 4 choices. Marshall Faulk, Peyton Manning, Larry Fitzgerald, or Herschel Walker, the biggest Heisman snub of all time. Now, I did not put it on the list, but I could have. And that would have been 2000, I got to scroll down here to find it, 2015 Christian McCaffrey. And why is that so anonymous? Synonymous, I should say, because that was the year Derrick Henry won the Heisman Trophy from Alabama, and a lot of people around the country thought Christian McCaffrey should have won it.
I guess the other half of this question is who aren't you giving the Heisman Trophy to? That has to be a factor. If you're going to rip the title away from, say, Reggie Bush and give it to somebody else, then that has to be a factor as well, not just Marshall Faulk, Peyton Manning, Larry Fitzgerald. That's an interesting one, as well as Herschel Walker. But, we all know we are of age to remember the Heisman Trophy being a career award, and they would never look at a freshman.
Still haven't.
I know we've had a couple of freshmen win it. Just recently with Johnny Manziel, he was a freshman.
Not a true freshman, though, I don't think.
Was he not?
I don't think Johnny Manziel was a true freshman.
And there was another freshman as well right after Johnny in Jameis Winston. I thought Jameis was a freshman as well, but it was just a different award back in the early 80s. And it's a question I've never asked a lot of the older hats when I got into the business of people that did have votes, of why they didn't even look towards the freshman at all. Right. If you're a good player, you're a good player, no matter what.
Yeah, Manziel did become the first Heisman, or the first freshman to
he a true freshman? I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if he was. I think he was.
Was he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't think we've ever had a true freshman Heisman Trophy winner. Now, I could be wrong. But just got me thinking. And it's conversational for everyone to call in. 256-576-4977. Is there a Heisman Trophy snub out there that we're kind of overlooking in time? You can go through and you can add 2005 Vince Young to the list.
Yeah.
That was Reggie Bush had a great year. 2004 Adrian Peterson, I mentioned that one. 1995 Tommy Frazier.
Yeah.
That's
the one that gets brought up a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously 1980 Herschel Walker. Because at that time in 1980, I mean, it really was. I don't think the stigma now of being a freshman is there because of the way we play the game, the way we look at the game. A freshman will win it. But back in the 1980s, man, if you were a freshman, it didn't matter. You could have put up the best numbers in the world, and you were probably not getting that trophy. So.
Had the voters from the late 70s, early 80s been voting this year, I don't know if Bryce is winning the Heisman Trophy. I really don't. And we're both voters.
Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, and just to let folks know, it's not as if the Heisman Trophy sends out this mass email and says, don't look at freshmen. I mean, they don't do that, but they will occasionally send us an email just saying, hey, this is our creed. Let's remember our creed.
Right.
So, of the best college football player out there, of the best all around. And it does factor into off the field as well as on the field. But at least for me, Scott, I'm going to say I go about 80-20 of on the field is a big deal to me. Off the field is important,
okay,
but not as important as especially how you performed in big games. How about you?
I think so. I'll go there. I think though now with everything, the transfer portal and everything, it may be harder for a freshman to win it simply because teams are going to go out and get transfer guys. They're going to come in and have that big year. Where are freshmen even going to be on a lot of teams? We may not even have a lot of freshmen getting a lot of playing time because of said transfer portal. We got a lot of college football we can talk about. Chris Landry is going to join us in the first hour as we pick his brain about the national. We've not had a chance to talk to him about the national championship game, and then we've not had a chance to talk about the transfer portal, which cometh and giveth these days. It is almost like we need to have a little intro and do just like that transfer portal update because it comes and goes.
I've heard some shows doing the Star Trek theme.
Well,
yeah. I listen. I'm not sitting here suggesting the Star Trek theme, but the portal does kind of seem like that. Oh gosh, what was that called? I've even totally forgotten what that room was called, where they beam you to somewhere else.
Oh, the transporter room.
Was it the transporter? I don't know. Anyway.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly. Auburn, though, picked themselves up a quarterback yesterday.
And I believe a punter as well.
Robbie Ashford, the 4-star quarterback for Oregon. So it continues. Remember, Arkansas got an LSU cornerback. LSU got an Arkansas cornerback. They're kind of flip-flopping.
Yeah.
Auburn sends Bo Nix to Oregon.
Yep.
In exchange, gets a quarterback back.
Texas A&M.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's not how it works out. Not supposed to be how it works out in the transfer portal, but basically Auburn transported Bo Nix to Oregon and Robbie
Ashford. Yeah, and they got a Calzada. So
Robbie Ashford jumped in the portal from Oregon, and he's now headed to Auburn.
Is that a step up, you think? You going from Bo Nix to Calzada? Did beat Bama.
But you got Zach Calzada, Robbie Ashford, and TJ Finley. All three are going to compete for the starting job. Ashford was a 4-star recruit, number 12 dual threat quarterback in 2020 signing class. He is a native of Hoover, Alabama. So
There it
he's
is.
coming back home. So
University of Hoover.
you have to draw the connections usually on a lot of these transfer portals, and Auburn is doing a fantastic job of getting in-state kids via the transfer portal
Home of Will Wade now.
to come back home. Wade Waldrop.
Oh, thank you. Wade Waldrop.
Will
See,
Wade is still cheating at LSU.
Yep.
So that
Which one is that one down there? I think that one is
that's
Western Union.
Yes, that is Western. Yeah, Will
We
Wade
all
is
know
still-
where Texas ATM is.
But you know what? Texas ATM is, and they're an ATM, but they're legal, okay? What Will
Are they?
Wade did. Well, I mean, it's
I know.
name, image, and likeness. So
I
it's,
know, yeah.
It's legal. But the other big quarterback news of the day, I guess you could call it big, because your Georgia Bulldog fan base thought he was going to be the next coming, the Heisman Trophy winner, the next first-round draft pick, and all of the Georgia quarterbacks, and that would be JT Daniels. He gone.
Yep. Yeah.
In the transfer portal.
I really hope that fans examine themselves, especially Georgia fans, on it all. And remember, he got the start in the Clemson game. So all the Georgia fans out there, it was JT, and all he did evidently was not impress the coaching staff one iota, because clearly he would have played more had he impressed the coaching staff.
Now,
and it wasn't healthy.
He played in more than just the Clemson game.
Yeah, I
year,
know.
right? So,
Yeah. But just a handful of games, and I mean, I can remember the crowing after the SEC championship game, and I was asking Georgia fans to get an eyeball-ectomy because it wasn't on Stetson Bennett why Georgia lost that football game against the Alabama Crimson Tide. The defense decided to take a day off. Well, that and the fact that Alabama just out-executed everything against the Georgia Bulldogs. But Stetson Bennett coming back, so we'll see how that pans out there in Athens. And you would assume that he is the incumbent and is securely the guy.
You would have thought that going into this season.
Yeah.
That he would have been the guy. But he wasn't. He wasn't even the third choice. He wasn't even the second choice.
No.
He was the third choice coming in after what he did last year. Now he helps win a national championship. By the way, he kind of trolled Alabama the other day because he went to a Raising Cane's.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
And kept telling everybody their total was 33-18.
Yep.
Yes.
That was clever. Although I don't know if I'd be willing to pay for like one combo for 33-18 just for
not at Raising Cane's.
That's
good chicken fingers.
Yeah, it is.
But not $33.
Not elite chicken fingers.
No. I'm trying to think of the most elite chicken finger place around here. Tenders is good, but is Tenders elite?
It's right up there. Tenders, Popeyes.
I'm out on that one. I'm out on the Popeyes.
Well, it's just because of the spicy. I mean, that's all.
I'm just
You're out on Popeyes.
I'm out on the Popeyes chicken fingers.
Maybe there's a place that we don't know about that someone visits all the time out there.
To help us with
elite chicken fingers.
Elite chicken fingers.
Yeah, no, Tenders would be.
Baumhauer's has good wings.
And they do have good. What they call them, hot lips.
Right.
Wesley's hot lips.
But I'm thinking elite chicken fingers. Not paying $33 from Raising Cane's.
No, I'm not sure if I'm paying $33.18 from anywhere for elite chicken fingers. That's a lot.
All right, 256-576-4977. We appreciate you for waking up with us on this Tuesday morning. You can get in on the conversation. Biggest Heisman snub, and I guess the best chicken finger place in Huntsville, because it sounds good today for lunch.
Yeah,
we have our weekly meeting on Tuesdays, so we're all going to be here. So maybe the Czar can spring for some chicken fingers today on his way in, because he is the one that travels the furthest. So he is going by more locations. You said Jason. All right, let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jason with us this morning. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing this morning?
Doing
Good.
good, bud.
It's cold out there.
Good. Yeah, it is. Y'all was talking about chicken. Boy, y'all woke me up, man.
You're welcome.
If you want to find the best chicken fingers, you got to find a mom and pop like a Dairy Queen, where they're not coming in frozen, they're breading them themselves. Like in Aberville, we got PG. They're making their own style. Go out and hunt you down a Dairy Queen.
A locally owned Dairy Queen?
Yeah. I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Right. That's what you got to hit to get the good chicken fingers. It's fun stuff such as that, like anything. Got the soft served ice cream and the strawberry sundae.
There you go.
Then get your chicken fingers started out. It's got it going now.
See, we're not exactly
now-
talking pounded out tenderloin.
See, now we're talking good. I mean, Jason's bringing up soft serve ice cream and chicken fingers.
Yep.
If you have the chicken fingers, you have to go with the soft serve ice cream. You can't go hand dipped.
It does remind me of a place that we would visit in Eastman, Georgia on the Golden Isle Highway. The place was called Scott's Barbecue, and you could hear the pigs in the backyard while you were eating barbecue. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's next level, honestly.
They have a place not too far from this BG's, and I cannot pronounce the name, but they make the torta sandwiches, and in the back of the restaurant, the very back, it's not in the restaurant. You can see the pigs and the chickens, and they're getting everything ready.
Yes, they are.
Free reign.
The house for Scott's Barbecue, half of it was their house, the other half was the restaurant. And the doors were right next to each other, so people would go into their house all the time.
Oh, y'all's Heisman.
Yeah.
The biggest Heisman blunder would have to be Herschel Walker.
1980.
The biggest difference in the football program when he come around as a freshman.
So you're not giving it to George Rogers?
No, Herschel done more for Georgia than George Rogers did South Carolina good, but he didn't do as much as Herschel Walker. They still lost ball games to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Herschel, he took over.
That is
He
true.
was the best running back that year out of all classes.
Jason.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Chris Woolsey on Facebook Live says Publix Deli.
That's
has
a
the best
solid
chicken
get
fingers.
right there.
He put them. He goes, them SOBs are huge.
That's solid. Yeah, a hot plate over at Publix is not a bad score at all.
Yeah. All right, 7:20 on this Tuesday morning. Let's get a break in because when we come back, Chris Landry's going to join the show. We'll get his thoughts on the transfer portal, merry-go-round, and the title game.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck at Jordan and 9th Avenue reported with injuries. One in Limestone County, 72 in Lucas Ferry, Highway 20 in State Docks Road in Morgan County outside Decatur, and westbound 565 near Greenbrier. That one's just east of the intersection. It also reported as a no injury. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device. No mask, no hose. And insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental. Coming in April, Valley will have a second location opening up on the North Parkway between Winchester Road and Bob Wade. They'll be offering bigger contractor-only type equipment, including 10K reach forklifts, 300 series track hose, and larger rollers and dozers, along with other equipment. Valley Equipment's 2 locations will better serve the region and allow them to grow their fleet. Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned for 10 years, where they put more care in every rental.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortAndSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Wall Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Katie Britt is a Christian conservative and an Alabama First business leader running for the United States Senate to save the American dream from Joe Biden's socialist agenda. Katie Britt will bring fresh blood and new energy to Washington and fight tirelessly for our conservative Alabama values. Here's Katie Britt.
My faith and relationship with the Lord guide my everyday life. Being pro-life and pro-Second Amendment doesn't make me radical. It makes me American. We have to show strength at the border, and what we are showing as a country right now is total weakness. It is so important that we protect our nation's borders. We are a nation of laws, not a nation of lawlessness. We need somebody that knows how to fight for Alabama, that believes in Alabama.
Katie Britt will fight for our Christian conservative values, put Alabama first, and never apologize for it.
I'm Katie Britt, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Britt for Alabama, Inc.
No other radio station in Alabama has 2 voters for the Heisman Trophy.
Winner of the Heisman Memorial Trophy is...
Listen to Steve Moulton and Scott Theisen. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, getting some good reactions on Twitter and Facebook from the biggest Heisman snub that we have. Kerry Moss taking us in the Wayback Machine on this one, saying Jim Brown finished 5th to Paul Hornung back in the day.
Yeah, that's fair to say, especially if you factor in what we think about Jim Brown in today's day and age and where he ranks among all professional football players.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I guess when we go back and we talk about the Heisman, we talk about most recent, and I say recent.
Yeah,
in the
modern
90s
era.
In the 80s. We don't go back and look back in the day because I'm sure we could go back in the 40s and the 50s and easily pull out guys that won it. Because, I believe there was somebody from Notre Dame, I think, that won it. That had
Tim Brown, maybe?
I want to go way back. They were at a losing record or something.
Oh, yeah, you're going way back.
Really bad record.
I think that was Hornung, maybe?
That may have been him. That had Notre Dame was awful. And
yeah, he won with 26% of the vote in 1956.
Yeah. Of course, now there's 980 some voters, and there was not 980 some voters back in the day. All right, Chris Landry is going to join us here in just a few minutes as we kind of get his thoughts and recap the national championship season. Brett Drinker tells us that Will Anderson, even though he didn't win it, should have been invited to New York City this year. That is his snub.
Well, what about your I'm surprised you didn't put your snub on there.
Chuck Long?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not a snub.
85?
That one, you know what?
Just because of Bo Jackson?
Because now that I know about Bo Jackson and I know Bo Jackson's accomplishments, you know, back when I was 10, yes. When I was 10, that was the biggest the biggest snub of all time. Was, to me, Chuck Long not winning the Heisman over Bo Jackson. Now that I know everything of Bo Jackson's accomplishments and how great Bo Jackson was,
yeah.
I am surprised that one was even that close. And for the longest of times, said closest voting of Heisman Trophy of all time. So that one, to me, now I understand it. All right, you got a second or two? 256-576-4977 if you want to get in on the show before we bring in Chris Landry, as he will join us here in just a second to help us recap what was a national championship game, a game that now will vault Georgia into another stratosphere. But the question now is,
yeah, stay there.
Georgia's defense next year is going to lose a ton. That defense, that's why I think everybody was sitting here saying, hey, guess what? If Georgia does not win it this year, this is their best chance to win it probably in a long time because of what they have defensively this past year. This next year, that Georgia defense, a la what Alabama has had to go through, is going to have to replace a tremendous amount of talent.
Well,
Kobe Dean, gone.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis, gone. I mean,
Nolan Smith is coming back. I thought that was a big breaking story that came out yesterday, and he played quite a bit this year for Georgia. But, yeah, the bulk of that defense is gone. The bulk of that offense is gone, especially in the backfield. I realize you are returning your quarterback, but Pickens is gone. There's a few others that are gone as well, but it's we're just going to see how well Kirby has been recruiting and how well that relates to talent on the field, because it's one thing to climb the mountain,
right?
But can you sustain it? Can you stay up there? And we heard, at least I heard Kirby say it over the weekend in the championship parade there at Samford, and that is burn the ships as they are getting ready to try to repeat, and you can't repeat without doing it once.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there between the hedges.
So Stetson Bennett is returning as quarterback, and you would presume he would be number one.
Yes.
Can you say that Georgia is walking into a situation similar to what Alabama had to go through this year, where they do have some veteran guys on offense? Their offensive line at Georgia is going to be real good, because if you paid attention during the national championship game, the starting lineups especially, there was a lot of sophomores and freshmen dotting that offensive line. So that offensive line is still going to be a work in progress, but it's still going to be good. Defensively, there's going to be a lot of young guys. Alabama played a lot of young guys defensively this year in that defensive backfield.
Dallas Turner.
But there was some talent returning. Georgia's not going to be – they're not going to lose all 11 guys defensively. There's going to be some returners that are going to come back. So could you say that this coming season of Georgia football will resemble what we saw from Alabama this year, where they kind of mirror each other a little bit?
I'd have to really study up the roster, but I think it's very comparable with keep in mind how many draft picks Alabama lost from the previous year, and they still win an SEC championship, only lose 2 games in total. But
Georgia's going to have a lot of draft picks this year.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to be double digits,
Right.
but it'll be close to double digits. So that's what makes me think it is comparable. It really is. But you're returning your quarterback. That's something Bama did not have this year. But I think it was pretty well known of people expecting good things out of Bryson, even though he was, quote-unquote, unexperienced because he didn't get too many snaps the previous year in that all-SEC 2020 year. So there's a few differences that I can think of immediately right off the top of my head, but it's just going to go to there's a decent amount coming back on the offensive line.
Ooh.
So we'll see. We'll see.
All right, 256-576-4977. You have a shot to get in on the conversation. Chris Landry is set to join us here in just a little bit. The other big story, not big story, but it's something to give us thought about, and that is at the beginning of the year in the SEC football, we asked the question, which first-year coach is going to be more successful? Brian Harsin, Shane Beamer, and we put Josh Heupel in there, and Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. We threw all four of them in there. Overwhelmingly, people said Brian Harsin because he's walking into a better situation than Josh Heupel because of all the transfers and everybody that left the Tennessee program. Shane Beamer at South Carolina, Will Muschamp did not leave him anything. The cupboard was bare.
Yep.
They'd be good to win 3 or 4 games at South Carolina. Clark Lee, Vanderbilt, we pretty much pegged that one right on the head. Yesterday, Josh Heupel and Shane Beamer were announced as co-winners of the Steve Spurrier First-Year Coach Award. Now, ironically, this is Josh Heupel's second time winning the award. He won it back in 2018 with his first year at UCF. Ironically, the year, in 2018, he won it there at UCF. So now we sit back and we say, it's funny because that's how we looked at it and said Brian Harsin was going to be more successful. When you look at it, it's all said and done. All 3 of them went to a bowl game. Brian Harsin, Shane Beamer, Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue that Josh Heupel did not. I mean, I know Shane Beamer won it, and Shane Beamer got South Carolina to a bowl game. But it's hard to argue that Josh Heupel did not do a better job of all 3 of them than what you look at it now.
Well, at least that last taste in your mouth, you have South Carolina winning their bowl game. Tennessee, I hear you, Tennessee fans. Yeah. I hear you. But you still didn't win your bowl game, and neither did Auburn. But from their starting point to where they ended up, I think the Steve Spurrier Award is spot on. I would give it a tie as well between – in fact, I think I voted for Heupel. But, I mean, it's hard to not say that what happened there at South Carolina is nothing short of a miracle because there was many experts, me included, expecting 4 wins at best. So
that's what I was saying. When you look back at the beginning of the year,
they beat Florida.
When we projected everything, we thought Brian Harsin would have at least 7-8 wins, possibly, because he was walking
that more because of Bo?
I think he was walking. I think we all thought he was walking into a better situation. Yes, because he had a returning quarterback.
Yeah.
And the question was, if Bo Nix could improve on X, Y, and Z, the Auburn Tigers were going to be okay because they had Tank Bigsby back. You returned.
Yeah, the transfer from Georgia
guys.
there at wide receiver.
Yeah,
so.
You had a lot of guys coming back defensively, and you had a solid kicking game. And Anders, I mean, everything lined up for them to be successful under Brian Harsin's first year. I am not saying the Tigers were not successful, because we all know what they had to go through and the ups and downs, and a lot of it was,
I would say, not successful is accurate. Year one, that was not a successful season. That's my opinion.
For Brian Harsin.
For Brian Harsin, it was not successful. No. I realize he's getting everything together, but a success, I think you'd be a long way from that book, at least that chapter of that book, to call what happened in 2021 a success.
So now you look at it, and you say, of those three coaches, which one now has a better second year or third year or going forward? In 3 years, is Brian Harsin still at Auburn? Is Josh Heupel still at Tennessee? Is Shane Beamer still at South Carolina? Are they still trending upwards? Because if this was the stock market, you would probably be selling Brian Harsin or you would be holding him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't sell it. You'd be holding him. If it's Josh Heupel,
you're
probably buying some Josh Heupel stock. You're probably buying some Shane Beamer stock or regretting that you didn't buy Shane Beamer and Josh Heupel at this point.
Well, I know Tennessee fans are really hoping they got their guy because it has been a long time since their last trip to Atlanta. So it has been a long journey for Vol fans out there. It looks like they've got their guy. And think about this. It's January the 18th. So this is a little over a year ago, almost to the day. No AD, no head football coach. And look where you are right now. I mean, it really is amazing. I know they went into Orlando's cupboard and basically stripped it bare, but it has worked out so far for Danny White. I mean, that's the early returns. But it looks like Tennessee is on steady ground. It looks the same way at South Carolina as well with what they got in their first-year head coach and Shane Beamer, but especially with the kind of transfer portal lands that they get with Oklahoma quarterback. So the East is getting better. It is getting better, but with Florida changing administration, so Billy Napier turning things from there was a lot of rumors that he was going to be the next guy at LSU, but that did not happen. But Brian Kelly taking things over. I'm not completely sold on Brian Kelly like Drudy Armin is. I'm not completely sold that he's the right fit there at LSU.
I guess you could make that argument going into this next year. I mean, are we going to say Brian Kelly is going to win the Steve Spurrier Award?
Well, he's
as
eligible.
First-year head coach. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he is eligible in there. Is Billy Napier?
Yep.
Will Billy Napier be a first-year Steve Spurrier head coach candidate there at Florida going into his first year?
Well, heck, you got another new head football coach down at Troy, too. So, I mean, it's not just
John Summerall.
Yeah, it's not just the SEC.
Which, by the way, Drew and I want to be there. All right, I'll tell you what, let's get a break in because when we come back, we're going to get Chris Landry on the phone. Let's get a quick break in, and when we come back, Chris Landry will join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like we may have a working structure fire in Limestone County. This one is on Oakcrest, east of Wells Road. They're calling for additional personnel there. Got an injury wreck at Jordan and 9th Avenue, one trying to clear in Limestone County, 72 in Lucas Ferry, and I haven't heard an update on Highway 20 in State Docks in Decatur. That one was causing a big problem. Save 25% off the Wise membership fee and become a healthier you in 2022. No joining fee at any branch or YMCAHuntsville.org. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, Check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50s-style diner food and meat-and-three meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out, or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Steve Moulton sitting in for the one and only Drew DeArmond this morning. Let's get right out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, bring in our first guest of this Tuesday. He's the man behind Landry Football Podcast Channel and LandryFootball.com. Been kind enough to join us this morning once again, our good friend Chris Landry on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Chris. Drew is taking a couple days off. It's well deserved for the man. He's been a little busy, but nonetheless, thanks for waking up with us again.
Oh, sure. I appreciate being with it, and hope Drew is feeling better and doing well.
Yeah. We have not had a chance to visit with you since the outcome of the national championship game, a 33-18 Georgia win. Your thoughts on what you saw from Indianapolis?
Well, it was more of what I expected to see in the SEC championship game. Georgia was the better team all year long. Didn't play like it in the SEC championship game. Alabama had a lot to do with it, but I think Georgia did as well. And I think this game was won probably between the time of the SEC championship game and the playoffs for Georgia. I think that certainly simplifying things, certainly being in a little bit better football playing condition, which they didn't play a lot of four-quarter games this year. I think how they maybe looked at that and learned from that was pivotal in the team's success. They were able to get more pressure on Bryce Young, which we discussed prior to the game. That was the key to the game, the ability to keep Bryce Young off his mark not letting him get comfortable was going to be the key to the game. Couldn't do that, wasn't going to win. You can do that, you got significantly enhanced chances of winning. That and being able to find some ability to run the football in the second half, control the game that way. Georgia is a team that has to stay on schedule. They have to work everything through the run game, which means that even when they throw it a bunch, it's based on how the defense has to play the run first. And in order to do that, you can't get behind 17-0 or whatever in like the third quarter to where you become a pass-first team, you become a drop-back team. They're not as effective doing that. They can't manipulate the defense that way, whereas, if you can stay in a one-possession game or even if you're ahead, of course, you can dictate the control and flow of the game, and I thought Georgia was very, very effective doing that. And I thought Alabama, I was probably as impressed with Alabama as I was in some of their championship teams. To get I go back, I still can't get out of my mind the SEC championship game. It gives you an indication of how well prepared and how well coached that Alabama team is to be able to find a way to craft a win there. Granted, again, Georgia didn't do some of the things they probably needed to do in that game, but Alabama took it to them there. And I think this was more of what the season looked like. Georgia just looked consistently good. Did not, even when they didn't play well, they still dominated most teams, whereas Alabama struggled, quite frankly. They were very fortunate to beat Auburn and wasn't impressive against LSU and wasn't impressive in the Florida win and obviously lost to A&M. This, to me, looked like an Alabama team that found a way to win, even though by Alabama standards they weren't as talented as they normally are. The right side of the offensive line, for example. The fact that they didn't have a great, healthy running back to their normal standards. The fact that they were down, well, in this game, basically two receivers, the two best receivers. All of that was really to have a chance to win it again. Pretty doggone impressive. And I know people on the outside look at it and say, well, that's Alabama. They loaded with talent everywhere, and it's never about talent. Well, the reality is there's some Alabama teams that are better than others, and this wasn't one of their better ones yet. Look how close they came to winning it all.
Crazy to think about, Chris. And Steve Moulton here filling in for Drew. Appreciate you hopping on with us. That being said, I know hindsight's always 20/20, but seeing the amount of players immediately go in the transfer portal, did the portal, you think, have any effect on some of those guys that were maybe 1 foot out the door already?
Well, the guys that were in the portal were pushed in the portal. I mean, you kind of look at all those guys. There's only one guy there that was really worth, I call it 1.5. I won't mention names, but maybe that was worth saving. Yeah. None of those guys. Basically, what those guys were guys that they misevaluated in recruiting, or they just haven't panned out for whatever reason. And it's, guys, being a recruiting coordinator, way back in the day, long before there ever was a thought of a portal or NIL or anything like that, is, sometimes guys they're really good, but their passion for football and their willingness to do the things that you have to do at this level is not always the same. And so what this does, it allows a program like Alabama to push those guys in the portal and use their scholarships for another bite at the apple. Meaning they can go and use those scholarships somewhere else, down the road, recruiting, transfer portal. They've got options. So the guys that were in the portal were all guys that they really pushed in the portal, that they really needed to get out there. And there are a couple of them that I think have a lot of ability, but they had a lot of ability and weren't quite getting it done to the degree that they needed. And that's kind of the way it's worked there. And, so that's kind of what I see. Now, I don't think those guys, if you look at the attitude of the work, I don't know that you can say that. I think it's just, in fact, I'd say quite the opposite. I'll go back to what I said. The fact that they played, and I think played almost to the level of Georgia when Georgia had the more experienced talent and the more depth of talent, and quite frankly, the better roster this year is an indication that I think they handle things about as well as you can handle it at Alabama. And look, they are the second-best team in the country. That's not good enough, I know, but all things considered, when you have what I would consider a rebuilding or a down year and you get that close is, I think, pretty good personally when you consider how good Georgia is.
Yeah, and staying with Georgia, Kirby Smart gets his national championship. Georgia fans get to celebrate a national championship. A lot of pressure relieved there in Athens with that win.
Well, one of the things that you have to deal with is when you're in these situations, you're having to kind of live for the sins of the past. All right, so they haven't won since 1980. Yeah, we get it. But the bottom line is the program is the next best program in the country in terms of how it looks, how it's run. It's the closest thing to Alabama, not named Alabama, on how they recruit, how they work the off-season program, how they do things. Now, they haven't quite adapted to what Alabama does offensively, and they're still more defensive focused, where Alabama's more offensive focused now. But it is, the consistency of being really, really good is, to me, far more impressive than somebody that wins and disappears. I've heard that. I've been around this game a long time. I heard that about Tom Osborne and Bobby Bowden. They couldn't win the big one. Because you know what? They could never win the big one until they did, and then they won a couple, and all of a sudden they're wow, of course we always knew they were great. Kirby has done what he needs to do, and listen, the reality is it's not easy when you have to get past Alabama, and you have to at Georgia. What's ironic is, it's Georgia and it's Alabama, and yet historically, and going back to when I coached in the league at LSU and there was only 10 teams in it, Georgia and Alabama hardly ever played. And they didn't play, and now they're in the East and West. They still don't play a whole lot, except they play every year now, seemingly in the conference championship game. With those things, it's become a rivalry in two schools that now are the best. And I guess we're fortunate that we have a conference championship, because if we didn't, we wouldn't see these teams play, nearly as much as they do this year. We got to see it twice, which some people weren't happy about. But to me, when it's the two best teams, it's the two best programs, you earn what you get what you earn. And I think both have earned that. And I think Georgia's here to stay. It probably is most stable of a program as there is, because you've got a young, vibrant head coach that's his school. There's no place he'd rather be, and he's got the resources to do everything that he needs to do. So there's no reason why they can't be good for a long, long, long time. It doesn't mean they're gonna run off 5 or 6 national championships. Those things just don't happen. That's why what we're seeing at Alabama with Saban, that's why everybody's amazed, because what he's doing just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It's just not reality. But the fact that they'll have a program, in my opinion, Georgia, that's consistently good and at elite level, that's, to me, what your goal needs to be. But you're right. Getting one of them, that's kind of the monkey off the back. You break the glass ceiling, whatever, and now you can kind of be free and not have to worry about, well, when are you going to win one? Well, now you can relax and go forward, and maybe it'll be like Clemson when they won one. The second one came quicker. That might happen with Georgia. But I think Kirby's in a great position, in a stable position.
Chris, we've only got about a minute left, but I did want to sneak in another story that, frankly, is not getting as much covered, but it is amazing the political power that Nick Saban does have. Right after that press conference, the Alabama legislature loosens up those restrictive NIL laws, especially after what Texas A&M accomplished in their recruiting class. How much are we going to see this across the board, you think?
Well, you have to. If you're going to compete in today's world, there are two things. We're going to have to regulate it, organize it better, which college football never does a good job of, but everybody's going to do that. Everybody is doing it. the A&M, money that's given us, grossly exaggerated. It wasn't even anything close to what has been reported. And trust me, Alabama is not paying through their NIL program, going to pay a dime less than A&M or any other elite program. Georgia as well. So that stuff gets exaggerated. I think it's, they got them, they're good because they're paying players. That stuff is not going to be the factor. And, of course, that was just a matter of time before it happens at every big-time state that puts an emphasis on recruiting, which no one does it more than Alabama or better than Alabama.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you for joining us. Let everybody know how they can get in touch with LandryFootball.com.
LandryFootball.com is where you want to go. You get the film room analysis of all the college game, the pro game, from recruiting to college football analysis to the NFL draft to NFL free agency, all the NFL games and teams, obviously the playoffs, the coaching searches. We got it all for you. One-stop shopping, LandryFootball.com. Still got the holiday special out there, so take advantage of that.
All right, Chris, thanks for waking up with us.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, Chris Landry with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. That is hour number 1. Hour 2 going to get underway. Talk some Auburn basketball. The Tigers reaching heights that they've only done 3 times before. We'll explain and make a case for why they should be number 1.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got an injury wreck. Sounds like it's in Hartselle, 1500 block of Main Street. Head-on collision reported there. Got belt line and spring, no injury, but there's 2 big trucks involved, so it may take a few minutes to get that one clear. Research Park northbound at Old Madison Pike was a no injury. Jordan and 9th Avenue did have an injury reported. Routine care to heart failure. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Tuesday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We're actually going to get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine. Temperatures climbing into the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the mid and upper 30s as we head into the overnight. Scattered showers through the first half of the day Wednesday. That activity becomes more widespread as we head into Wednesday afternoon and eventually into Wednesday evening. A lot of heavy rain is possible. We could even see a couple of embedded thunderstorms. The good news here is that Wednesday's actually going to be quite warm. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 50s and lower 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
The NFL Divisional Playoffs are set for Saturday and Sunday. The Bengals at the Titans Saturday afternoon. Tennessee a 3.5-point favorite at home. Later, the Packers -5.5 at home against the 49ers. On Sunday, the Rams a 3-point road underdog at the Bucks, and the Chiefs -2.5 at home against the Bills. The UFC heavyweight title up for grabs Saturday in Anaheim at UFC 270. Francis Ngannou, the current champion, the +120 underdog against interim champion Cyril Gane at -145. Also for the flyweight strawweight title. Brandon Moreno -185 against Davison Figueiredo at +150.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we are underway with Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Steve Moulton filling in for Drew DeArmond today. Drew is away from us for the rest of the week, so enjoying some time away is Drew DeArmond. We hope he gets to feeling better and gets back here.
Yep.
Because we're going to need him for the home stretch. Anyway, college basketball season is underway, and yesterday the newest AP poll came out for college basketball. And Auburn had a chance to be number one. In fact, the AP voters, except for one idiot.
Is this our moron of the day?
Yeah, and unfortunately they didn't name him. So we just get to say one AP voter is a moron of the day because he voted him number 9 in his poll. But anyway.
Number 9?
Yeah.
Number 9.
Yeah. Auburn finished with more first-place votes than Gonzaga.
What are the 8 teams that are better than Auburn right now?
That moron doesn't deserve to vote. Auburn finished with 36 first-place votes, Gonzaga 25. But Gonzaga ended up with more points than Auburn by 4, so they ended up number 1. Auburn number 2. So the number 2 ranking for Auburn, the 4th time in program history. They've never been ranked number 1 in a poll. 1959, 99, and 2000, the 3 other times that Auburn has been ranked. So when you look at it, college football, number 1 means a lot more during the regular season than college basketball. Being ranked number 1 in college basketball right now means absolutely nothing.
When the
means nothing.
when the NCAA comes out with their early look, you are secured a spot, I would say.
But that's not by your AP ranking.
Correct.
That's by all the other
NCAA
stuff.
ranking.
This AP ranking.
Oh, yeah, it means nothing.
Yeah, it means
It's just
nothing.
like the AP football vote. It means nothing.
But see, I think the AP football vote means a little bit more.
Do you really?
Because that is where I think the playoff rankings can look. When they get into the playoff rankings, I think they mean a little bit more. Basketball, be inside the top 25, and you have a very good chance of making the 68.
Yeah.
And you get there, you get a better. I mean, you're great, but it means a lot from the standpoint of this point in the season, we're this good.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Auburn is really this good.
Yes. So should Auburn be ranked number 1? Should Gonzaga be ranked number 1? So here you go. Gonzaga is number 1 in the NET, the Ken Palm, the BPI, the Sagarin, and the Torvik rankings. Okay, that's where Gonzaga is number 1. Auburn, by the way, is 4-1 in quad 1 wins, 4-0 in quad 2 wins, an 88.9 winning percentage in both quad 1 and quad 2. Gonzaga, by the way, just 71% winning percentage in quad 1, quad 2 wins. Auburn is the only team in the country that has not lost in regulation.
Yeah, double overtime. UConn. That's right.
Yep.
That was back in December.
Auburn beat Alabama on their home floor.
Yeah.
Gonzaga lost to Alabama in what they want to say was a neutral floor, but you're playing it
Seattle.
X amount of minutes from campus. So
Auburn is really good. And Well, how do I know that? The game at Ole Miss, Auburn should have lost. They were playing a subpar game,
right?
And they found a way to win. And teams that do that, not only not playing your A-plus game, but also on the road and you still win, you're an elite team. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know Ole Miss is not top third in the SEC. I get that. I understand that. But when you play your C-, D+ game, you shouldn't win. You shouldn't win. But Auburn found a way to win that game. Now they've got a layup coming up tomorrow at home against Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's that bad. Before they welcome in Kentucky on Saturday at noon.
Possible trap game.
I think it's going to be a really good basketball game.
The Georgia Auburn
you think
game.
the Georgia game is a trap game?
Why not? I mean, you got Kentucky coming to your home floor. I mean,
I get that.
It's a game where Auburn could struggle.
It may be within a 10-point game at halftime. I'm going to give it that. No, Georgia's bad.
You're also the same guy that on the way up to Indianapolis kept saying, well, Georgia Bulldogs have no chance.
Well,
we have no chance.
Have you seen the Georgia Bulldog basketball team this year?
Tom Crean is going to have
Tom
Crean
I
is
think he has
living
14 wins in SEC play, and this is year 4, 5?
He's living off Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
He's living off Dwayne Wade.
He had a number 1
still.
overall pick, NBA draft, and couldn't do anything with him.
He went to Indiana. He was the next savior of
Auburn is so
Indiana
deep.
basketball was Tom Crean.
Yeah. How'd that work out? Yeah, Auburn is so deep, and especially at the point guard position, and you got a number 1 overall pick on that Auburn roster as well.
Jabari Smith.
Yep.
All right, let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Badger Larry with us on a Tuesday. Good morning, sir.
Morning, fellas. How y'all doing today?
Good.
I know y'all are all about the SEC and how it's unfair rankings for the SEC and all that. But you want to talk about being underranked all year. My Badgers have, until this week, they had us behind Alabama, behind Houston, who we beat. We've only lost 2 games to ranked teams on the road, mind you. We've beaten Purdue, who's still ahead of us. You talk about, look at some numbers there, brother. And it's like that every year. But my goodness, they're playing some good ball, and they're definitely underranked.
Well, Wisconsin has some decent wins, no doubt about it. The Texas A&M win is looking better and better every day because Buzz Williams has Texas A&M playing good. So that Texas A&M win is a good one right there. Maryland is an awful basketball program. That one, if you don't beat Maryland, then you have a problem. And you got a 1-point win there. The win against Purdue is one that you can really hang your hat on because that Purdue win was good. And even more importantly, it came at Mackey Arena. So that is even more outstanding. Matt Painter has a decent ball club this year, but that one is pretty good.
So why are we ranked behind them?
That's the question. Why would some? Just to sum it up, an AP voter voted Auburn number 9.
Yeah.
So you're putting you're putting the votes in hands of guys that have no clue probably what basketball is even played with.
Well, you tell me, Badger Larry. I have not seen Wisconsin play. Is this kind of your rinse and repeat kind of program where you got solid center, forward, down low, and decent guard play, and it feels like you could go back in time and say, oh yeah, that's a Wisconsin basketball team. They've looked the same for the last 20 years.
Yep, that's true. Well, they recruit guys that are not one and doneers.
Yeah,
so
never.
They get experience. They get experience, and I will say that the true freshmen, we had an outstanding class last year, and we've got a couple of true freshmen that are really, really good, and they're playing well. And then with COVID, we got a couple of guys that hung around too. So we got a mixture of young and old. So there's a kid on this team.
Johnny Davis.
Yeah, Johnny Davis. This guy, I'm telling you, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah, he's near the tops in the country in scoring. Leads Wisconsin in pretty much every category, literally every category, I think, but one: points, rebounds, assists, and steals. So I mean, he is a fantastic, fantastic player. In fact, a couple weeks ago, Keegan Murray and him both were near the top. It was a Big Ten game. Both of them were near the top of the nation in scoring. Johnny Davis put on a show. Keegan Murray didn't show up. But Johnny Davis put on a show, and he is one of the best basketball players in the Big Ten, and he's really helping Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a stellar run in the tournament this year. So
yeah,
we're hoping. It's been a pretty good year for Wisconsin sports.
14-2, that gets it done right there. But
look, here's my thing though, and I go back when I'm younger. I remember making trips, and I think I've been to 3 of them. Cole Fieldhouse is okay, but Wisconsin had one of the best home court advantages back in the day when they had their old field house. And Williams-Brice Arena in Minneapolis, still to me, of the Big Ten arenas, is one of the most phenomenal arenas because it's still the old barn style of arena. And Wisconsin used to have it up there as well. And I remember going up there. I did a couple ladies' games. I've been up there for a couple women's games and a couple men's games up there in Madison. And it is a treat. Cole Fieldhouse is okay, but, man, you can't replace the old Fieldhouse.
Yeah. And they pack them in. They pack them in for hockey, too.
Yeah, they do. Big Ten hockey. I mean, who would have thought that?
Appreciate the phone call. What's going on with your Hawkeyes?
Well,
they're 3-3.
But you know what? They're young though, and Keegan and Chris Murray, which by the way, I mean, their mother, I lifeguarded with their mother back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, she is from my hometown of Anamosa, and I actually lifeguarded with her and grew up with them. So Chris and Keegan Murray, their father is Kenyon Murray, who was an Iowa great. So not that I can take claim to the fact that I know them, the boys, because I've never met them, but I know their mother. So,
there you go.
Yeah, and I covered when I was back home, and Kenyon Murray was playing basketball for the University of Iowa at the time, and so I kind of have a little special place in my heart because I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Incidentally,
I know them, so.
Alabama at 2-3. This after starting out 2-0 in SEC play, they have lost 3 in a row, including a loss to Mississippi State. And now all of a sudden, this game tomorrow against LSU, looming large.
Nate Oates referred to it the other day. The Missouri loss is the one that they have been telling the team is the one that can really hurt them because
they're 1-3.
We watched that game in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And the effort that Alabama gave was poor. And Nate Oates referred to that and has referred to that over and over again, is the fact that, that you cannot go out there and play with that effort that you played at Missouri and expect to get a win. It was not there, and they got away from themselves. He said the Auburn loss and the Mississippi State loss, okay, you had a great team in Auburn. You nearly had them at home. You go to Mississippi State. You should have won that game. Okay, if you lose one of those and you split those, you can live with that. You can't live with the effort that you had on the road at Missouri. You can't live with that effort. And that is something Alabama has to figure out because all of a sudden here comes Western Union. They're smarting after getting beat.
Yep.
And so now if you're Alabama, you have to protect the home court. You have to. You cannot lose to LSU. You can't.
Here's your 2-3 teams currently in the SEC. Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee. I mean, who are you taking out of that bunch to come out with the better SEC record? That's a tough one for me. Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, they're all 2-3 right now.
Well, you look at Arkansas. Arkansas was 0-3 2 games ago.
Yep.
Arkansas has rattled off 2 straight wins. At 0-3, we were calling Eric Musselman's group one of the biggest disappointments to start the SEC campaign.
Yeah. They're always kind of a late bloomer.
Well, I mean, you look at how they're building his team. Eric Musselman's the one that builds his team through transfer portals.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit for those guys to get used to each other and get playing.
The Bama defense, though, is what surprises me more than anything. Listen, I know Herb was kind of the heartbeat of that team last year, but Javon Quinterly, I took a look at the statistics. He shot it nearly 50% from the floor last year. He's at 25% this year. And I realize you don't have a John Petty to kind of maybe get a few more looks from to spread the ball out a little more equitably. But, I mean, 25% from the floor, I never would have imagined that from Quinterly.
Well, and plus they're missing that toughness of a Herb Jones.
Yeah. Big time.
I mean, you look how valuable Herb Jones was last year to this squad. And who was going to step in and fill that toughness void, that leadership void, that I'm going to put this team on my chest because I only have one leg and the other one's broken and hanging off and I'm missing an arm and all that other stuff. I mean, that was Herb Jones.
Yeah. And the defense was spectacular last year.
Herb Jones would go out there and play. I mean, if you told him, I'm sorry, you got a fractured foot and a dislocated shoulder, I'm still playing. I mean, that was Herb Jones. Herb Jones would give you everything he had with nothing. And I don't know if Alabama has that toughness right now.
Teams that are above Alabama, certainly Auburn, they are undefeated, but also Texas A&M. That's another team that I cannot quite put a pulse on, that I have not completely bought into the Aggies, but they have certainly done what they have needed to do, and they're undefeated at the moment. I'm
wondering if we don't buy into them because we don't see them.
I've seen a game and a half. Yeah, I've seen very few games.
I mean, we've seen a lot of Alabama. You've seen a lot of Kentucky. You've
seen a lot of
Tennessee.
Auburn.
You've seen a lot of Auburn.
Yeah. Auburn looks
but we
real.
have not seen a lot of Buzz Williams' team play a lot. And you look at their schedule, and they have been a benefit. Has Texas A&M of somewhat of an easy schedule? Their last three, you go back their last 6 games, they beat Missouri by 3, but then they beat Ole Miss. They've beaten Arkansas. They've beaten Georgia. Those are their SEC wins to start the year.
If you don't win those, then I mean.
But now it gets a little tougher because they have Kentucky next, then Arkansas.
So Kentucky has Texas A&M tonight or tomorrow night?
The 19th, which would be tomorrow. So
they go to Auburn. Wow,
Yeah.
How about that week?
Yeah,
how about that week for Calipari?
Let's pray that Calipari loses 2 in a row. Because that just would put a little salt in Jeff Burrow's little rear end.
Yeah, he won't be calling in for a minute.
I give him credit. He won't watch the game, though. If Kentucky gets beat, he doesn't
watch. Why
watch.
Watch your team?
Because if they get beat, he won't watch it. Because then it never happens.
I guess he didn't watch the LSU game.
No, he didn't watch a lot. He's watching women's volleyball.
How'd that work out for him?
Well, they won
last year. Last year.
12th ranked, so they have Kentucky, but then they go to Arkansas, then they go to LSU, does Texas A&M. So we're going to find out a lot about Texas A&M in the next 3 games.
Yep.
So
I will call it right now,
stretch.
they will not stay undefeated in SEC play.
That is true.
I don't see that happening.
Not that stretch there.
But Georgia coming in to take on Auburn tomorrow night, and then they play host to Kentucky, a CBS main event. They moved up that start time, by the way. They moved it up to noon Central Time. And what is a sold-out event?
The jungle will be rocking.
Yep.
That is for sure. All right, 8:21, let's get that break in because when we come back, Brooks Austin's going to join us. Dogs Daily. Going to get an update from the Georgia Bulldogs.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's got a wreck on Jeff north of 53. Not sure on injuries there yet. Martin Luther King reported northbound at Kelly Cemetery. That one's reporting with injuries. In Morgan County and Hartselle, 1500 block of Main Street, they launched a medical helicopter on that one. Serious injuries. Beltline and Spring had 2 trucks involved. Should be clearing it. And Research Park northbound at Old Madison Pike, no injury, but still trying to clear. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman is an easy-to-use oral device, no mask, no hose, and insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Switching season is here at WOW. Get Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month and get your first month free. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
For over 20 years, Audio Insight has been designing and installing systems that integrate today's technology into homes and businesses all over the Tennessee Valley. At Audio Insight, they don't provide one-size-fits-all system solutions. Instead, they design your system from the ground up based on your valuable input. By working closely with you, Audio Insights can ensure that your system will meet your performance, budget, and aesthetic needs. Visit the showroom at 1229 Putman Drive off Jordan Lane and experience some of their fine products firsthand. Visit audio-insight.com to learn more.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hometown Lenders was founded right here in North Alabama on old school principles. We like to call them the 4 Ps. The best products, the best processes, competitive pricing, and of course, the best people. It's why we're one of America's fastest growing mortgage lenders. We're now adding a 5th P, the Hometown Promise. If we don't close on time, you don't pay a dime. Yes, you heard that right. On time, every time, or we refund 100% of our fees.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Ding me.
Listen for Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin Ball with Scott and Drew.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball, 8:26 on a Tuesday morning. Rudy Arman enjoying some time away from the studio. Hope he gets healthy here. We will have Drew back with us next week for sure. But in the meantime, Steve Moulton sitting in for the illustrious Drew DeArmond. Not as colorful.
I cannot bring the same kind of energy that Drew DeArmond. It is an unrealistic.
Probably should not say this, but I'm going to anyway. But the other day, Drew got a little colorful on air and called somebody the B word. His mom was paying attention and told him not to do that anymore.
Yeah. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. I appreciate some help being the program director here. Any help, any and all help is fully appreciated. Thank you, Mom.
He was like, my mom sent me a note saying not to say that anymore. So
I try not to get rattled.
We got a little too colorful that day, and I forget what it was.
Well, you sat next to him during a football game.
But you know
how
what,
colorful
though?
did he get?
I thought it was fun, though. I thought it was great. It was a unique experience unlike any other. It was good. Anyway, let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, shall we? Bring in our next guest. He's the lead editor for Dogs Daily, part of the SportsIllustrated.com network or the SI.com. He's a recruiting analyst at SI All-American, and they have been busy because it is that time again. We got that second round of recruiting coming up. The dead period is over. College coaches are visiting, and not to mention the Georgia Bulldogs just recently won the national championship. But let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Our good friend Brooks Austin with us on a Tuesday morning. Good morning, Brooks.
What's up, gentlemen? I guess Drew just gets to take time off whenever he wants to. Middle of the heat of the news cycle, got transfers leaving left and right, coaches finding new places, and the radio host just gets to dip off and go wherever he wants. That's nice.
That's what happens.
Yeah, when your name's Drew DeArmond.
Yes, that's what happens when you are Drew.
Cussing on air and getting yelled at by Mom. That dude's hitting home runs, brother.
It was a classic.
He doesn't go for singles. He goes for grand slams.
And I forget what set him off. I teed him up, and I teed the ball up perfectly, and I was expecting the response that I got. I just can't remember what the response was. And it was.
Isn't that usually the case?
Yes.
You initiate something? You never remember the reason,
but
you remember the result?
I have no idea when it comes to instigating stuff. I plead the fifth on that. But Brooks, what we can talk about, I mean, what is known is the fact that Georgia now national champions, going out on this recruiting cycle. I mean, taking everything with them, the trophy included, and making sure these recruits know that finally they are national champions, and Kirby Smart delivered.
Yeah, they had players on campus Friday before the parade. Kirby Smart hit, I believe, 8 different high schools in Gwinnett County alone, dropped the Kirby copter all over the place in Northeast Georgia Friday. And then Saturday they had some of the top prospects in 2023 on campus during the parade. So I tweeted, Kirby Smart's always been an alpha recruiter, and now he's a national championship level recruiter. That's what he is. He's always been recruiting at a top 3 level. Now I just don't know how you counter-recruit him, because recruiting prospects is just as important to some of these coaching staffs and programs around the country as it is telling kids why not to go to schools like Georgia while you're counter-recruiting. So schools have been using Georgia can't win a national title. Georgia can't win a national title. Georgia can't win a national title. Well, now they can't do that. Now that's out the door. So I don't know if there's a stone left unturned nowadays for Kirby Smart. He can go into any room. He can go to any living room and pull a recruit out of anywhere. Not that he couldn't do that before, but now it's going to be almost impossible to beat him.
So the fans obviously euphoric. There's no doubt about that, Brooks. But in the same time, I think one of the storylines I'm always going to remember of 2021 is how the fans were clamoring for JT Daniels, and it didn't happen. There was no doubt that was the storyline that kept. It felt like it was always the storyline behind these wins and behind this national championship was the fans clamoring for JT.
Yeah, it can never be easy around, the University of Georgia when it comes to the quarterback position. It can't be cut and dry. Yeah. There's always got to be some type of drama, some type of, argument over the issue. It seems like, at least under Kirby Smart, that's the way it's been. But, I consider that a problem of the prosperous, to be honest with you. Like, when Mark Richt was at the University of Georgia, I don't remember Georgia fans arguing about Fountain Bada. Like, they just weren't. It wasn't that situation. Now you've got talented quarterbacks in the room. You've got 4 and 5 stars and a walk-on that ended up beating them all out for the position. To me, man, like after the Florida game, I dropped the subject. I didn't argue about it. I didn't care because I listened to the way that his teammates talked about him, and I knew, like, that's a culture at Georgia that revolves around toughness and the day-to-day habits that it requires to be great as a team. And if you're not about that, or if the guy behind you's about that more and his teammates believe that he's about that more, then that guy's going to play. And that's exactly who Stetson Bennett was. And you go watch him struggle against Florida and throw multiple interceptions, and the offense looks stagnant. And Kirby Smart never wavered. I think that moment right there in the season, I had my answer as to who the starting quarterback of the University of Georgia. It seemed like it took another 6 weeks, 7 weeks for the Michigan game for Georgia fans to realize who their starting quarterback was.
Brooks, what does the quarterback room then look like going forward? Because Georgia has recruited well over the last couple seasons, bringing guys in, high-profile guys. Stetson Bennett coming back next year. What does the quarterback room look like next year as far as guys on the roster and recruiting goes?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't even seen an official decision from Stetson Bennett. And I believe you're going to see portal activity either way. If Stetson Bennett goes, if Stetson Bennett stays, I think you'll see at least one quarterback most likely hit the transfer portal and head elsewhere. But that's the nature of this business nowadays in college football. The starter's the starter. The presumed starter's the starter. Everybody else is a potential portal entry nowadays in college football, and that's just the way it is, man. But I don't know what it looks like now because it's January 18th, and believe it or not, we still haven't had an official decision, like I said, from Stetson Bennett. He returns. I presume he's the starter, yes.
Nolan Smith.
Nolan is no doubt coming back. And how big is that?
Yeah, Nolan Smith is an official return. I think that's bigger for Nolan than it even is for Georgia. And hear me out here. Nolan Smith is another guy that has finally gotten the opportunity to get the full run. That was what this year was all about for him. As a freshman, he played behind Azeez Ojulari. As a sophomore, he played behind Azeez Ojulari. This year, as a junior, he finally got the full run, right? He finally got the full scope of what it means to be the Jack outside linebacker at the University of Georgia. And I think the maturation of him as an athlete kind of showed that. He got much, much better as the season progressed at playing that position, got more opportunities to pad the stat book as well in the box score. So I think that is an opportunity to come back, build the draft status, and build the allure around a guy like Nolan Smith, because he saw the dudes in front of him do it. Jordan Davis raised his profile this year. Quay Walker, Channing Tindall, they raised their profiles this year coming back, even Devontae Wyatt as well. So there is value to coming back to Georgia for a fourth year, and there is value in being the guy in that defensive system for the second season.
Tailback-wise, is it that room going to be led by Kendall Milton, or?
Yeah, I think that room sees a little bit of attrition that some think it might have needed all last offseason, but the seniority and the leadership in that room was very valuable this year. You saw how much James Cook came up big in a multitude of situations all year. Zamir White had a couple of big runs there in the national title game, and you leaned on their experience and their seniority, like I said. This year, I think, honestly, they're a lot more talented in terms of overall ceiling of the room. When I measure Kendall Milton's ceiling as a football player and Kenny McIntosh's ceiling as a football player, paired together, I think that match is a little bit higher of a ceiling than that of Zamir White and James Cook. So I think you're in a really good situation. It's just about doing the things that smart and experienced backs do that you needed them to do. James Cook had 2 very, very critical blitz pickups in the middle of a national championship game. Guys that don't have a lot of experience don't do that every single time. They tend to bust those assignments every once in a while. James Cook didn't when you needed him to do it. That's what the young running backs are going to have to do at Georgia next year.
Let's go back to the national championship game a little bit. What surprised you the most from Georgia's performance? Obviously, Stetson Bennett, the way he stepped up and delivered some dimes, but what surprised you the most there in Indianapolis?
Being able to confuse Bryce Young, or at least make him pat the ball a couple of times because you switched on him pre and post snap. I watched that dude all year dissect just about anything. I went into that football game and was like, there's no reason to play zone. You can't. You'll just figure it out. Well, Georgia played about 50% of their snaps in zone, and they had a lot of success. I was really, really surprised that the game plan to me didn't change from the SEC championship game to the national championship game for Georgia's defense. They played a little tighter. They walked down a little bit more. They played a little bit with some reckless abandon. But the scheme, the game plan, was relatively the same from what they got absolutely torched by in the SEC championship game. They just flat out executed better, guys. They played a much better football game for 4 quarters, and they confused that dude multiple times, particularly on third down. They did a lot of different stuff on third down to confuse the quarterback that I thought was unfathomable. I didn't think you were going to be able to do that to him.
One thing I didn't think about till just now, Brooks, is something Kirby said on the podium, and that is the property damage. Any reports of property damage in the Athens metropolitan area after Monday night? And I'm trying to look it up right now to see if there's a 911 tape on property damage.
Bro, Athens, Georgia was an absolute war zone Monday night. It was insane. Yeah, I got some tweets about it on my Twitter account at Brooks Austin SI if you want to go check it out.
Yeah.
There's a famous bar downtown. It's called Bourbon.
Yeah.
Bourbon Street, okay?
Yeah.
The entire floor was like looking like it was about to collapse. It was like a trampoline inside that thing, okay? It was a terrifying yet magical yet mystifying scene in Athens, Georgia on Monday night. It was incredible.
Now we look ahead to this next signing period. Any things that Bulldog fans or anybody should be paying attention to here in a couple weeks with this next signing period?
Yeah, with the mass attrition that they're having on their roster right now, I believe they're going to have a little bit more room than they originally thought going into this, second window of National Signing Day. About 95% of the nation's Georgia quote unquote caliber football players, they're already accounted for. They're signed, sealed, delivered. They signed in the early National Signing window. The second window is more about guys like Kristen Miller out of Cedar Grove. Can you finish that up there with him? He was just out at Oregon on an official visit. So can you finish the deal there with Kristen Miller? Taking a look at a guy like E.J. Lightsey from South Georgia down there in Fitzgerald County, was committed to Florida. Billy Napier processed him right before the early National Signing Day period. Dude, he's a state champion inside linebacker from South Georgia. This is a UGA kid that they might just have had fall into their lap, and he's a 6'2", 220-pound linebacker that runs 4.5. So it could be worse. It could be worse in terms of having guys fall into your lap. It's finishing the deal with dudes like that, figuring out what the rest of the attrition looks like, and going and making some moves in the portal if you feel necessary.
Well, open up that wallet like Texas A&M.
At least it's still football season and not basketball season there in Athens.
Yeah, it's never basketball season, dude.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Let everybody know where they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, sorry, Tom Crean, if you're listening. At Brooks Austin SI on Twitter. It's always football season. It's 24/7 football season over at Brooks Austin SI on Twitter. We got off-season content coming in, which means player grades, which means NFL draft evaluations, which means all kinds of crazy stuff that is based in film evaluation. So if you're one of those people that likes the X's and O's and likes watching actual football, not listening to narratives being driven by people who aren't watching it, check me out at Brooks Austin SI.
Thank you, Brooks.
Oh, thanks, Brooks.
See you, gentlemen. Y'all be good.
All right, Brooks Austin joining us. See, we like Brooks.
So the first floor, and I've been in that bar,
Yeah.
was a trampoline. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Let's get that final break in when we come back here. Tomorrow's headlines today. What's paving the way?
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got the wreck out of the way now on Research Park northbound near Old Madison Pike. 1500 block of Main Street in Hartselle. That was a head-on collision. They launched a medical helicopter on it. It's going to take a while to get it clear. Martin Luther King and Kelly Cemetery had an injury. Jeff Road north of 53, I think it's just going to be a minor injury. And we got one on Maysville Road north of Ingram Road that's reported as an injury type. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Memorial Parkway. Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental is independently owned and operated by local folks right here in the Valley? They are celebrating 10 years in the business this year and have grown to be North Alabama's largest supplier of rental skid steers and mini excavators. Now, if you have a question about what tool to use, just call them at 964-6081, and the pros at Valley Equipment will get you into the tool that you need for your specific project. Valley Equipment, more care in every rental.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands, or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
Progressive is America's #1 motorcycle insurer, so we understand motorcycles. No, really, we have a bike translator.
Okay, so this bike feels like he's capable of a little more than just trips to the convenience store. Oh, also, he wants to let you know that you can buy a gallon of ice cream instead of a pint every time. Those are his words. So he said roughly like, blink the last wheel. It doesn't really translate, but the way he said it was super funny.
Get 24/7 roadside assistance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance subject to policy terms and limits and may require comprehensive coverage.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Here's another listing from the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Job Board. Automation Personnel Services is looking for industrial production and assembly associates for a Huntsville-based company. Multiple shifts and pay rates are available. Learn more at 977ESPN.com. Does your business have positions it needs filled? Contact 97.7 ESPN The Zone today to get your openings announced on the 97.7 ESPN The Zone job board. Just email Joe at abrahambroadcasting@gmail.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tomorrow's headlines today: Wild Card Weekend is officially in the books. Last night, Monday Night Football, the LA Rams get by the Arizona Cardinals 34-11. Matthew Stafford 13-17, 202 and 2 scores. Stafford started the night with 323 career touchdown passes in the regular season. Those were the most of any player without a playoff victory, so you can scratch that off the list. He also entered the night having never won in the playoffs, losing in all 3 of his appearances over 12 seasons with the Detroit Lions. You can scratch that off your list. So here's how your divisional playoffs look. Saturday, we get the Tennessee Titans and the Cincinnati Bengals at 3:30. Then we get the Green Bay Packers hosting the San Francisco 49ers at 7:15. And then on Sunday, you get Tampa Bay hosting the Rams, Kansas City hosting Buffalo. Those are your NFL matchups.
Well, without even looking at the lines, I'm assuming the Buccaneers are about a 4.5 point home favorite. I would assume despite the fact that Tampa Bay lost a couple of pieces along the offensive line, but we'll see how healthy they get during the week. But they do have an extra day on the Rams. I don't know how I feel about Monday Night Football factoring into the playoff equation in the National Football League. I know they're trying to.
It's only the
a made-for-TV event.
Time. It's only the second time.
Really?
That it ever happened. The last time it happened was the Rams hosted a Monday night game. They called it the Mud Bowl. And I think you got to go all the way back to the 70s or the 60s when it happened. But keep in mind, and a lot of people are wondering, well, why was this game played at this time? Why was this game? because the networks bid on each round.
Yeah.
So ESPN put a bid in for a wild card game on Monday night. NBC, CBS put a bid in for the 2:30 game, for the NFC division game, for the CBS was awarded it.
I think
because
they have the
put
Chiefs
the most
game
money
this
in
weekend
for that game. Yeah, so the Bengals and Titans game will be on CBS. The Packers 49ers will be on Fox. The Buccaneers Rams will be on NBC at 2 o'clock. And the Chiefs Bills will be on CBS at 5:30 or 4:30 our time, or 5:30, whatever.
Yeah.
But right now, the Titans are a 3.5-point favorite. The Packers are a 5.5-point favorite. The Bucs are a 3-point favorite. And the Chiefs are a 2.5-point favorite over the Bills. So that is the divisional round of the playoffs. That is how things are looking right now. So
just interesting how the Bills just took apart the Patriots over the weekend. That was my biggest surprise. I thought the Bills would win.
Worst loss in Bill Belichick's coaching career in the NFL. Worst loss.
He looked very cold afterwards.
I'd be cold too. When you're getting the woo kicked out of you, and that wind is blowing right up. I mean, there's nothing worse. And Buffalo played a perfect game as far as scoring drives go. They scored a touchdown on every one of their possessions except the final possession in which they kneeled down on. That is
efficient.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so this morning we did ask the question on Twitter. Biggest Heisman snub of all time. That was the question. And like I said, it's hard to put just 4 on there, but Twitter only gives you 4. The third choice could have been other. We could have left it blank and put other and then left that up for your consideration. But we put Marshall Faulk, 1992, Peyton Manning, 1997, Herschel Walker, 1980, Larry Fitzgerald, 2003. So the responses that we have gotten so far this morning, Stan Beckton put the only correct answer is Steve McNair.
He had big numbers.
Steve McNair from Alcorn State. We'll go over those. Larry Fitzgerald, B.J. Jones says, racked up 92 receptions for 1,622 yards, 22 touchdowns on a team that was a 6-win team without him. Of course, that being the Pitt Panthers of Larry Fitzgerald. So that's why we put those. Now, Steve McNair, we did go back, and he did. Now, of course, he went to Alcorn State, so he played in the SWAC. Pretty much broke every record possible. He is credited for that year 5,799 yards of total offense, 4,863 yards passing, 936 yards rushing. He's also the FCS career record holder at 16,823 yards, most in college history until a few FBS air raid quarterbacks came along in the 2000s. Keep in mind, this was 1994 that Steve McNair did this. In 1994, Steve Spurrier and the fun and gun offense at Florida was about as close as it came to this type of offense that we see now. But Steve McNair was throwing and chucking that ball all over the place.
I believe it was Rashaan Salam who won the Heisman Trophy that year from Colorado. That would be and
Rashaan Salam just went into the College Football Hall of Fame this past year.
Crazy.
McNair had 6 500-yard passing games in 1994. That's an FCS record.
Yeah. I happen to be part of the Titans radio network the year he won co-MVP with Peyton Manning, and it was kind of funny to follow the Titans that year, but also the other factor was one of the trainers. His sole job, especially at home or on the road, was to get a room dark enough and comfortable enough so Steve McNair could take a nap. I mean, Coach was like adamant about it. Is the room ready for Steve? Because Steve played so much better taking a nap right before a game. Like, it was a big deal for Jeff Fisher that year to make sure his starting quarterback took a nap before said game.
Steve McNair holds the FCS mark for total offense. In 4 games against Jackson State, he racked up 1,772 yards of offense. So that's why we are throwing Steve McNair in there. Alcorn State did make the playoffs in 1994. Steve McNair's real 1994 numbers are 47 touchdown passes and 6,281 yards of offense in 12 games. That is, his team scored 56 in a season-opening loss at Grambling, then under legendary head coach Eddie Robinson.
Yeah.
And really, Steve McNair made HBCU football. No, I mean,
that guy was country strong.
You had Walter Payton, you had Willie Totten, Jerry Rice.
Yep.
You know, all those guys came along, but Steve McNair in the 90s really put HBCU on the map, kind of like what Deion Sanders is doing with Jackson State.
Yeah.
I mean, people paid attention to HBCU football when Steve McNair was there at quarterback. All right, that's 2 hours of fun. We're done.
Yep.
Told you.
Done.
Time flies.
No, I'm not done. I'll be back here on the drive. We're at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Yeah. And we got I'm not done. I get UAH women's basketball today at 4 o'clock.
There you go.
Christian Brothers over at Spraggins Hall. Andrea Lemon and company didn't get to play. It's been a while since they've played. They're taking a 2-game win streak into this gunfight tonight. So we'll see what they can do at home, 4 o'clock against Christian Brothers. We'll have that for you as well. So a lot going on today. Plus, we get to meet with the Czar.
Yay.
Yay. All that and more.
Yay.
All right.
Thank you, Chad.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hometown Lenders was founded right here in North Alabama on old school principles. We like to call them the 4 Ps. The best products, the best